So you see, because the North had 50% of the seats in the parliament, it meant that they will always be the senior partner in Nigerian politics. But hold on, before you blame the North, remember how they got the 50%. They didn't get it by shouting, we no go agree, or we no go agree. And they didn't just get it because the federal government or the British colonial government gave it to them. They actually got it because the East allowed it. And I read it earlier. When you look at the Nigerian debate of September 1950, right? The Honorable Charles Onyema mentioned how, for the sake of unity, they should allow the North to have 50% of the seats. So the North, of course, it was unfair, but they did it because the East allowed it. But now that they're having election, they're having censors, the idea would be that if we're able to now, understand that you got this 50% because you claim to have more people, in terms of population, you had more numbers than the South. That's why you got 50%. Now that the South is higher than you, it means that you're going to have to lose some of the seats because these people are more and they need more representation. And of course, NPC was against that. Now, let me say this: when you read this book, one of the things you will notice is the fact that the North did this, the North did that. And yes, while I believe that the North was wrong in many instances, I think the man should have asked, why did the North get the power they got? How did they get it? And why did they use it the way they did? Zeke was against it. Against what? Yes, Zeke was against it, but the party was for it. And the reason why I don't talk about Zeke being against it is because, listen, let me answer that question that I'm unable to put out there. In 1950, was Zeke against it? Yes. Zeke was against the North having 50%, but the East was for the North having 50%. And when I read that report, which I have, by the way, the reason I don't acknowledge what Zeke did, sincerely, is because how can you be the leader of a party? Jesus is Lord. What I'm about to say right now is an answer to a question I've had in my mind for a while. How can you be the leader of a party and you have an idea that differs from the idea of the party, and you are bold enough to say it outside, and the party representatives, other people in the party, now say the party's position, and eventually they did something and now say, boy, I did not think that way, but you are the leader of the party? That's not a leader. Let me explain what I mean. The North wanted 50%. Zeke actually said he didn't want 50%. He didn't want the North to have it. But as far as I'm concerned, only two things can explain this conundrum to me. Number one would be that, you don't have authority over your own house. So you are saying one, the party saying the other. Number two, you are playing a game with the rest of us. In other words, I can always say that I did not vote for it, although the party I belong to, which I'm the leader of, wanted not to have it. And neither of those positions make Zeke look good. So the idea would be that me, I'm against it too. So you tell the South, like, at least after all, I'm Zeke, I'm against that thing. But then you tell the North, okay, after all, my party was for it. Therefore, you're trying to win on both sides, which shows that, number one, you are taking people for, you assume people are dumb. One day we're going to have a session on the book by Sardauna, My Life. He mentioned it. They know that the Southerners think they were stupid. He said it in that book. They knew. They allowed us, especially the East, to play them. But they were the ones that would win in the long run. They knew what they were playing, and they played that game perfectly. The North played the game. Of course, they were helped by the British. That is true. But they also knew how to allow you to think they didn't know what they were doing. So you thought you were winning, but they will eventually win. So yes, Zeke said he was against it, but I don't believe it one bit, because he was the leader of the party. It's NCNC, it's 1950. He was the leader of the party. So it's either you're telling me that you are not a good leader who cannot be able to get people to determine something, or you are telling me that you think I'm a fool for you saying I don't believe in it, but my party believes in it. Let me give another a parallel example. In 1952, when the Midwest began to agitate to have their own state, Awo had two criteria or prerequisites, so to speak. Number one was that the state must be viable. In fact, that was his primary thing. It must be viable. number 2 was what came up because of the party. What are you saying? If you're against something and your party say they are in, what will you do? Listen to me, Dabere. Let me tell you what you should do if you are a leader. Awo wanted the Midwest to go, but Action Group did not want the Midwest to go. Why? Because Action Group said that we are the smallest of the 3 regions. We should not allow anybody to just break up, and then it leaves us at a disadvantage. So an argument and a debate ensued, and what they came up to was that, number 1, they agreed with what Awolowo wanted, which was the viability. Like, if you were viable, you could go. But number 2, they wanted to make sure that they had another way of ensuring that they were not shortchanged. So by 1955, when COR agitation began, they now found the loophole, so to speak, or the opportunity they needed in order to get what they wanted. So what did they say? They said, okay, listen, now they can go as long as, or provided, COR would also be allowed by the Eastern region to break out. Listen, all these debates, none of it came out in public until afterwards. I want to not go everywhere saying that, hey, I want you to go. It's just the people in the party that said that you should not go. That's what I was doing. It was the leader of the party. It didn't come out to tell the COI, the Midwest people, like, just go. I would like you to go. It's by people that are holding you back. Oh, that's not leadership. And that's why, if you read the book by Bola Ige, the book is called People, Politics, and Politicians. In that book, Bola Ige described the 3 main leaders: Zik, Awo, and the Sardauna. You can't, this is it, or you just leave it alone until you reach a consensus. So that, let me give you an example. I ever thought about it. Why was it that it was Anthony Enahoro who moved the motion for the independence of Nigeria in 1953? Why? Do you really think Anthony Enahoro was telling the world what he thought? No, it was the position of the party. All the debates will happen inside a action group. They used to debate a lot, by the way. Even Papa mentioned it. You have to be able to marshal your point. Everybody will argue and debate. You will now come to something like, this is the position of the party. That's the one we will all talk about when we get out there. Not that you will come to the parliament and then you are the leader of the party, you are saying A, then the party representatives, others are saying B, then you now say, nobody say we don't like him, but say, maybe just say we don't. Just be talking like you're not taking responsibility for anything. So I said all of that to say that the idea that Zik did not want the North to have it, it doesn't really hold water, considering the fact that his party that he was leading was pushing for that same thing that he was supposedly against. So it doesn't really count, essentially. Or let's just say that he wasn't a good leader. Whichever one you pick is fine. But that's my, and I think that's the logical, thank you for that word, that's the logical conclusion that anybody would come to if you study it. If you're a leader, you're supposed to have a common front. You're supposed to have one voice in parliament. You can't come to parliament and say, we did not finish our debate inside the house. I am for Action Group, but I don't agree with what Action Group is agreeing with, but I am the leader of Action Group. That's the day you should stop being the leader of Action Group. That's the day you should be sent home, like, thank you very much, thank you for coming, God bless you and your family, bye bye. Because you're not a leader, you're just a placeholder. But I mean, it is what it is. The MPC fumed. So back to the point, with the census figures favoring the South, the North will lose some seats. Therefore, and that's one of the reasons the North always hype the figures, starting with the British helping them to cook up figures. We'll have a session on the census, on the history of census in Nigeria.